I often talk about the fact that you get the most number of points when you've used the most effective method. So I'd like to take the example now. I've got 100 kronas, and I want to increase that 100 kronas by 50%. So what would I end up with? Well, we know that I'd end up with, first I've got my 100 kronas that I had originally, and 50%, half of 100 kronas, I'd end up with a 50 krona note as well. Okay? So I'd end up with 150 kronas if I increased my 100 kronas by 50%. Mathematically, the easiest way of getting the answer to that is I've got my original 100, I can think of that as being 1, and I can think of the decimal of 50% as being equivalent to the decimal 0.5. So to get the new price, I take 1.5 times 100 equals 150 kroner. Really simple in this example, isn't it? But it's a very useful thing to think of. That you start with your original 1 and then you add this one as a decimal to it. So an increase by 80% I would get by taking 1.8, my original 1, plus the 80%, which is 0.8, times 100, giving me 180 kronas. If I increased by 100%, it means I've got my 1 plus another 1. I would multiply 100 by 2. I would end up with 200 kronas. I've increased by 100 kronas. My final price is 200 kronas. Increased by 200%. Well, I've got my 1 and I've increased by another 2. So I'd have 3 times 100, giving me 300 kronas. If I increased 100 kronas by 200%, I'd have an extra 200. So use this factor instead of take your original, add that as a decimal instead, which in this case is 2 whole. 1 plus 2 is 3. 3 times 100 is 300. So using the most effective mathematical method can give you A points. So it's a good tip to know. Not doing that increase by 2%, well, 200% of 100, cancelling all my zeros, gives me 200 kronas. Add my original 100 kronas that I had from the start to give me 300 kronas. This method gives you much lower quality points than this one. It's the most effective mathematical method. Okay. This would give you E or C points. This would give you potentially A points. If the question was an A-type question.